Hi, I'm Rick Dior, and welcome to my dance party. So that was a preset that I wrote on top of a preset that came with the Roland SPD-SX Pro. So this is a preset called Dance. It's the first preset in the machine, number one. And the best way to learn how to use this machine is to take a preset that's already written, copy it somewhere else, and play around with it. Add things, add other triggers like I did, change some sounds, change some effects, do some pad copying, all that. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to show you how to write a program, to copy a program from one area to the next area, and do some minor adjustments. And we'll do another video where we do some major adjustments. So like I said, that was a program called Dance, and I called it now Rick's Dance Party, as you see here on the screen. And this is made up of 3 separate loops that are on the original machine. The first one is this. The next one is this. And the third one is this. So essentially, there are different mixes of the same thing at a specific tempo, which is quarter note equals 120. When I copied it to program 100, as you see here, I added some different things, these kind of Simmons toms that I'm so fond of. Heard on my other videos, they're just a lot of fun. This hi-hat kind of loop. That's an alternating loop. I'll show you that in a minute, how that works. And then what's this? This is just part of the actual loop here. So I did it so every time I hit it, it changes. That's called an alternating strike. And then this right here. And that's another little percussion loop. So all those together, they happen at the same tempo. The trick is triggering them perfectly so it sounds like a groove. It's actually pretty tricky. So let's look at the program here. We'll see how this looks now on the computer. I have a screen shot running, screen record. And you see here, pad 1, we have the loop synth. Hit it. And you know you can always hit all sounds off to make it not sound once you hit the loop. Or you could just hit it again. These parameters come up below here. So we have loop is on, and we have different settings, like how many times it will repeat, off, it can repeat 8 times, or just constant. So forever, until you hit the pad again or hit another pad. All right? So the trigger type is alternate, which means if I hit it once, it goes on. If I hit it again, it goes off. All right, as compared to one shot, which is a lot of what the regular triggers are. And then we have it in mono. That way, it can only happen monophonic. So one time, so you're not overlaying. So it's kind of a safety thing there, so you're not getting it over and over again. It becomes a mess. All right, so you want to keep it monophonic there. Has nothing to do with stereo. I am running this today in stereo, left, right. You probably heard some of that. Panning if you're using headphones. Then below it, we have this other loop, this bass loop, and we have the same thing going on. Okay? It's just a little bit of a different loop there. So you combine those. And then the same thing happens with this, and these will all be set the same, pads 1, 2, and 3. You see here, they're all the same. Then we get to the drum pads, which is pad 7. Now, when I click on that, it looks completely different. You see what happened here below. The loop now is off, so it's not looping. It's just one hit. All right? And then we have, it's one shot, not alternate. Okay, just one shot. And then we have it on polyphonic, so it can overlap itself. All right, let's see if we put it on monophonic. So it's cleaner, right? We're getting rid of that ring. It doesn't overlap itself. So that's one way to think about it. And then I have nothing on the bottom layer. I want to keep that clean. For now, I wrote this program pretty quick just for this demo, but actually maybe I'll go play a gig with it. I'll busk on the corner, all right? And then that happens with the other two here. Now, for my triggers, you see these here on the right. I have this dry, big kick, and then I have the solid kick under it. So you see what happened when I hit that. So you see them change down here, and then you see the kick. That's how great this works with the computer. It's very fast and easy. All right, so you see the settings here again, poly, one shot, same as the other, and their layer types are mixed. So I'm mixing those two kick sounds, dry, big, my kick, and solid kick together to make just a really large, powerful kick sound. Then we have our China cymbal here. Okay, and then the bell here. So again, these are not loops, so this is the difference between them. And then we have our hi-hat. Now this is one thing I did want to explain. And we have our open hi-hat. And then when I press the pedal, it works just like a real hi-hat. So if we look at our program for that, we have loop is off, one shot, okay? Not alternate, all right? And if we hit our pedal, we have the same thing. So they're working together, okay? That's how you have to have it set up. So, but again, I'm layering these here. So you need to layer the top closed and the bottom open. So it works like that. That's very important. You see it there? Warm hi-hat, closed top. So when I have my foot pressed on the pedal, it's closed, open. So the foot's off the pedal, it's open. And that's how that works. So you're doing two different layers. So you need a pad like these PD7s or PD9s or the most recent Roland cymbals hi-hat stands that are very expensive. These are way cheaper solution right here. A third of the price or maybe a quarter of the price. You have to have it set up like that, layered. Okay? That's that. And then that's pretty much it. I think snare drum I have, I'll show you effects in a minute, but I have a flanger on that snare, and then I have a rim shot. So everybody knows flanger. If you listen to Led Zeppelin, Kashmir, the whole band is flanged. So if you want to do effects, you go to the effects button, which is here, and you see how they come up. So on the snare drum, that's routed through, that's trigger 7. It's routed through the effects number 2, and you see number 2 has the phaser. If I turn that off, you won't hear it. But if I turn it on, you hear it. So you could change all those effects. It's really easy to do this. If you have any experience with a mixing console effects units, this is like second nature. Okay, but it does take a little getting used to. Now, I have all these activated, but they're all not happening. So if I was going to switch this snare drum to effects 3, we would get this delay. All right, you hear that? So again, that's a cool effect, but not good for this. Get pretty messy. So let's go back to what we had. So we want to get it back on phaser. We'll put it on MF2. That's a very cool thing you can do with multiple hits. All right, so it's pretty straightforward here. All right, now quickly, let's talk about building a new program. This will be a little bit of a long video. So step 1, and again, I would suggest using the computer. Let's go all the way and find a program. Let's go to something the same tempo. House. nothing here, right, because it's not programmed. We'll have a kick drum, but there won't be anything here, nothing here. Well, we got my pedal. That's good. Nothing here, nothing here. And as far as this goes, a scratch loop. And that's a delay because it didn't do all sounds off. And obviously this is meant so. All right, so you can play it with just a pad, but I want to play it like a drum kit. So here's what I do. I take this, I hit, you see it says 05, I hit copy, kit, and I take that and I copy it all the way to 101, which is open. I hit copy, and I hit copy again, and there we go. Okay, so now it's copied. I can experiment with it. There won't be any issues. So the first thing I'm going to do is now I'm going to copy the previous sounds from the previous kit, 100 to this, just for an example. All right, so there's a pad copy function that's really, really useful. So if you say copy pad, it comes up this. So if we want to do this and just hit it, see how it changes the trigger? Okay, and this will come up on the machine here too. I don't know if you could see it on the computer. Well, you can with the screenshot. So we want to do pad 7 snare drum. All we're going to do is take from 100, it's right there, to 101, the same pad. Hit copy, copy. All right, now it should sound. All right, there it is. And now let's go to the rim. Let's see here. So we'll do it again. You hit copy, copy pad, and you have trigger. So that was trigger 7, now trigger 8. All right, and you'll go 100. So 100 to 101, trigger 8, copy, and let's see if that works. Good, and it has different effects from the actual program, which we'll get rid of. All right, and then we can do the toms and so forth. All right, so we can keep going and do all this, but now we'll do the hi-hat so we have that. We have one more we can show you. We can just play a little something. So copy pad, this will be the hi-hat, trigger 5 in. So this will be 100 to trigger 5, copy. See if that worked. Good. Okay, again, it's got the delay on there. We'll take that off. And then we'll also do the pad under it, so, and that worked. Great, okay? Then let's go to, let's see, I think we got it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we get rid of all those delays, which will go on indefinitely. So the first thing we do is we're going to go to wave type. We see it here. See that T2? You do effects, shows you the effect. It's Master Effects 1, pan delay. That means it goes from one side to the other. Pretty cool. Let's try, without rewriting it, let's do effects 2. That's a wah-wah pedal. That's cool. All right? We'll keep the clap. Let's change that also to the wah. That's a hi-hat. We're going to get rid of it. Let's get rid of that now. Let's copy. Pad. We'll take 101. So we'll, from 100 pad 9 to 101 pad 9. And then we have our electric tom. I like the claps for now. We'll leave that. So you see I'm doing this, and then we'll go to the effects, and we'll also change that to the wah effects too. And we lost our delay now. Okay, so now we hear this delay. We'll do all this. We'll have the wah wah kit. So if you hit that, let's make sure they're all on 2. See what I'm doing there? And we'll hit this. Put them all on 2. 2. 2. Ooh. All right, so now it's clean, right? We want to turn that up because it's kind of quiet. So what we do is we go back to wave type and we hit volume, and we're going to go all the way up with it. Some of the hi-hats, see, that's better. Some of the hi-hats are soft in this machine. So there's some sort of issue here, so let's address it. This is good. So it shows you how we do it. So let's go to wave, and then what we're going to do, we're going to change the trigger type. One shot mono. And that fixed it, okay? And we'll keep this poly. Keep this one shot. And there's nothing here. Let's do the same thing. One last time, we'll copy it. We'll see what happens. Copy pad from 100 to 101. Okay, trigger 3. Copy, copy. And again, that's got that delay, so we go to effects, and then let's change that to, let's do a long reverb on that, so effects 4. All right, and then we'll do this trigger. That's trigger 4, copy, pad from 100 to 101, copy. Now I'm moving faster, okay? Normally I do this really quickly. And there's our bell. Get the idea? So I have all my loops here now. So as I hit one, since it's on one shot, it gets rid of the next one. All right? So they're not all blending together. And that's it. It's so simple to do here. So this video basically, you see how I build programs. You just have to copy one to the other, but then you're going to have to do a lot of adjusting because these programs were worked on for a long time by someone, by a team probably, who basically invented the machine, and they were doing all the editing, I'm sure, with the computer till it was just perfect. So a lot of these out of the box are really fun to play. But the deal is going to be when you hook up the triggers, they're not necessarily going to work right away. Now, one thing you could do, I don't know if anybody is selling kits. I might eventually do that build the kits and just sell them. I know people online do that with keyboard programs all the time. But if you find someone who has a lot of really good kits and they give them to you or they sell them to you, then that's another thing that you can do. All right, but programming does take time on the machine. So I hope you enjoyed this. We'll play a little more. I want to go back to my dance party. So let's do that.